Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Mini Automotive and today we're doing a bit of a refresh video. So this is my 335d X-Drive Touring, my daily driver. Now a year ago my first YouTube video was actually on this car and I claimed that it was the ultimate daily for under £20,000. So let's see, a year on, do I have the same opinion on it or do I not like it as much?
The car is a 3-litre diesel twin-turbo straight six with just over 310 brake horsepower. We've got 465 foot-pound of torque and it's only available in X-Drive. We've got 8-speed ZF gearbox and a 0 to 62 time in just 4.8 seconds. And don't worry guys, it is ULEZ compliant.
Okay, so the front of the car is definitely my favourite. We've got these nice grooves in the bonnet here which make it look really sporty. The lights are fantastic, they light up the road. For a 10-year-old car, they're very bright. I also like the fact that the car overall is completely de-chromed and I think it just adds to the sort of sleeper vibe with it. We also have the bigger brakes and these wheels I think were done aftermarket before we bought the car. But they're in this nice grey colour, which I think really add to the car. I think it looks really smart and smarter than it would with black wheels. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
So we have the M Sport Pro Pack, which gives us all of these nice extras, including the xenons, headlight washer, sun protection glass, the Harman Kardon sound system, the M Sport brakes, and also the 19-inch alloys. It's a very highly spec car, and I think it's because it's an ex-demo from Park Lane, so it got all the cool gadgets.
Okay, so let's talk about how much this car has actually cost us in running costs in the last year. It's all equated to about £1,000. So what have we had done? We've had the front brake discs and pads and also the rear pads. We've had new front tyres and we're going to be getting new rear tyres in the next month. We've also had an MOT which passed with flying colours and we also had a full service with the cabin filter as well. This is the 2014 model and unfortunately it doesn't come with the nice shiny facelifted lights, which I really liked. We also didn't get adaptive suspension with this car because at the time there weren't many of these available and this is the car we wanted, so definitely look into that. For us it hasn't been that much of an issue, it still rides really nicely. Now, I will say the boot is one of my favourite things about this car because we've got a Labrador. Being able to just hold the key open and be like, in you go. It's so handy and it also shuts with the key as well. Now, a lot of modern day cars also don't do this, so this is one of my favourite features on the car. It's simple, but daily life it makes things so much easier. We also have this classic split tailgate, which I find really handy for when I'm maybe in a tight parking space and I'm trying to put some shopping in. Now, onto the boot. If you come and have a look, we actually bought this second hand. Now it is OEM BMW and I would definitely suggest getting one of these because as you can see how clean it is underneath. Now it just makes things so much easier. You've got some side pockets and we also have this here that we've put down just to prevent it scratching. Now that hasn't always been the case. Dogs are always going to scratch the cars, but overall boots are really decent size. I don't know how, if you could fit a pram and a big dog in it, maybe you would need to go for the 5 Series. So I will say one thing, when you're buying a used car, just be very careful and vigilant overall. So I will say our paintwork isn't the best and we basically have noticed recently that this lacquer peel has started peeling, so someone's obviously repaired this quite badly. And it's not the end of the world, but just be vigilant when you're buying a new car, as you normally would. Since my BMW is a used car, I often think about how quickly it's depreciated.
This car new with all its optional extras was £47,000. Now a year ago we bought it for £18,500 and sadly it's already depreciated quite a lot.
That's why I wanted to introduce you to today's video sponsor, ALA Gap Insurance. Did you know that ALA Guaranteed Asset Protection ensures you receive the difference between what you originally paid for the car and what your insurer's values it at? While many policies are geared towards brand new cars, gap insurance can absolutely be taken out on used models too. Whether you bought your car outright or went for a finance or leasing deal, gap insurance is the perfect way to protect your investment. Don't let depreciation catch you off guard. So check out ALA Gap Insurance today and use my code Amelia10 for 10% off your next policy. on to the interior. Now this is quite a nicely spec car, but there's definitely things I'm missing in it. We don't have a sunroof, we don't have electric seats, and I also don't have a heated steering wheel. Now you may say, why would you need a heated steering wheel? But trust me, once you have one of them, you never want to go back. Now I love this era of BMW with its interior. Everything is just so nice and aesthetic. We've got the nice Pro Nav here, which is an upgrade. We also have physical buttons and the control knob here. Now, I will say the seats aren't as comfortable as I'd hoped they would be. So we've got some nice support here for your legs that you can change, which is very BMW. My older 3 Series also has that. We've got side support, but we don't have lumbar support. And for me, lumbar support is really important, and I do miss that a lot. And also, like I said, I wish we had electric seats in this because it does make all the difference. Now it's finished in this nice sort of aluminium and piano black. But I feel like it's very premium here, but it feels very sort of executive. Like I said, this is an ultimate sleeper, but it doesn't feel sporty in here to me, which is what I'm missing coming from a GTI TCR. I miss the sort of, not the tartan, but I miss the accents and the little bits in it. And obviously with these sort of cars, you'd have to go for an M to get that. But at the time, they didn't create an M of these. Now they do. The M3 Touring is absolutely stunning. But overall, that's a bit out of my price range. Overall, I like the interior. I don't love the interior, is my overview. So the rear of the car is also really spacious, and I'll show you now. Okay, so onto the rear. I am 5'9" and I fit comfortably in the back. My seat position at the front is also set for someone that's the same height. So loads of room in the back. We've got a 12-volt socket here and the climate control here. We also have cup holders, which are nice, and this opens fully, which not many cars do, so I think that's really handy for if you've got your golf clubs or something you need to ferry around. We've got 2 ISOFIXes and an upgraded Harman Kardon sound system, which sounds epic. So I've been driving this now for almost a year and a half as a daily driver, and I will say it's a very pleasant thing to drive. Now I don't get in it and I'm not really excited to get in it, but I think that's just because of the styling and the interior. As much as I love it, it's just a bit sort of executive. It hasn't got the sort of sporty side that you would get if you had like an M, or from me coming from a GTI before, I obviously had the sort of red accents everywhere. You could tell it was a GTI. Now, I think this being an ultimate sleeper definitely works for some people. But I love the interior. It's very nice. It's nice is what it is. Now, I will say the miles per gallon is fantastic, and that is the thing that basically sold it to me. Having a car with this much sort of horsepower and performance and still being able to get a really decent miles per gallon is just incredible, really. So around town, I'd say I normally get about 44 miles per gallon. If I was sort of driving a bit more economically and on the longer motorways, we might get over 50, which I think is pretty decent, to be honest, considering my other car is the E46 330 Ci, and I get half the miles per gallon even if I'm trying hard with that. So that's really what sold it to me. And also it is a fantastic engine. It's very smooth. The ZF gearbox is brilliant. It's responsive. But my negative with it being a diesel is I don't get the instant throttle response that I did with the GTI TCR. Now, it just takes a bit of time. Now, obviously, it's an older car now, and newer diesels are very responsive. And a lot of people have said to me, Amelia, you need to get a stage 1 remap on it and you'll fall in love with it all over again. Now, I definitely agree with that. I think it needs a remap just to sort of open it up a bit, because I've had so much fun in this car, like so much fun, and it's grippy. I feel safe in it. I feel safe. I feel comfortable, and it's a great all-rounder daily driver. I can take my niece in it, my nieces and nephews. I've got the dog in the back. It's everything I need in a daily driver. But I normally get emotional attachments to cars, but I'm actually going to say I don't really have an emotional attachment to this. To me, this is just a car that gets me from A to B, and probably is to do with the styling. And this is the fantastic car. I'm not hating on it at all. I love it. It's a great car. For our budget, I think it's the best car out there for what we needed. But there's just something lacking, and that is my honest feedback in a year. I mean, nothing on paper is wrong with it. It's perfect on paper. But there's something I feel, I don't know, it's missing, which I think is the stage 1 remap. So if you guys can suggest anywhere that does a good stage 1 on this, let me know, because I think that will unleash it a bit more. Now we are going to keep this for quite a while. I don't have any plans on changing it as a daily, because I've got fun sort of weekend cars and petrol cars, and it is the perfect daily just to run around in. Another thing that I've missed with the diesel is the fact that I don't have the sound. I think that's one of the biggest things, is the sound. Like, you've got a bit of sound, but obviously it's not a petrol. And I think overall I'm just a petrol girl. So in terms of the different modes, we've got Eco, Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus. And I will say Eco is horrible to be in. I did try it for a bit just to see, but it actually doesn't make that much difference with miles per gallon. It makes you get a few extra miles, and it's just so not worth it. So me and my other half both reverted back to just drive it in Comfort, because there's absolutely no point. Otherwise it just comes into such a luggy car. Just put it into manual. This is so fun to drive. It's so quick, but it's almost like the difference between like a Golf R and a GTI. It's the front wheel drive, all wheel drive thing. I think if this was like rear wheel drive or front wheel drive, I'd find it a lot more fun. But I wanted something planted. So this is a daily driver, perfect. But something that's a bit more fun, I think actually a 330d, although you lose a bit of power with it, having that not X-Drive, I think that could be really fun to drive, and I'd actually like to try one out. Now, when I went to go and get this car, I was like, I want to get the best, I want to get the top. So we got an older car when we could have got a 330 and spec'd it that was newer and a higher spec. Now, looking back, I probably actually I should have test drove the 330 as well. Because I think in my head I was like, oh, the 335 is the best, obviously it's going to be the best, but they're completely different cars. And I would advise anyone that is looking at one of these to also try the 330, just so you've seen the difference, really, and can make your mind up for yourself what you want. Do you want something that's a little bit more fun, or do you want something that is completely, you feel safe in, is completely planted on the road? Final thoughts on my daily 335d. Will it survive another year with me? I think it definitely is here to stay for a while. I think it needs a remap so that I can fall in love with it all over again. It definitely needs a bit more instant throttle. Overall, I do think it's definitely the perfect daily under £20,000. And in the last year, you can even get them even cheaper. So I don't actually think there's much more on the market that I would go for right now as a perfect daily. Let me know in the comments, would anything replace this for you guys? Thank you for watching, and make sure to give it a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.